Hi, I'm Billy Goodnick, local landscape architect and your host for Garden Wise. Thanks for tuning in. You know, people say Santa Barbara has no seasons. Well, it's not like Chicago. We do have seasons, but it's a little more subtle. And we need to understand those in order to make the most of our gardens, because there are changes going on all the time. Got a lot to share with you this episode. We'll be taking you to Seaside Gardens to look at some beautiful plants that'll add some life to your winter garden. We'll also be looking at plants that you can grow in the wintertime to put some yummies on your table. We're going to be talking to someone about making your home more fire safe, and we'll wrap up with a great irrigation tip. And I'll let you know we've got a fine, fabulous feathered friend who's going to help me with that segment. So stay tuned. I am at one of my happy places, Seaside Gardens in Carpinteria. We're here to talk about winter color in your garden. Just have the snow plows come through and get the ice banks out of the way. So come along with me. We're going to look at plants that give you both foliage color as well as flower color, and they'll be great in your garden. I've gathered up a few plants from the nursery here. We're going to talk about both flower color and the impact that has on the garden, and also the more permanent effect we get from foliage color. We have been blessed with some plant propagators who have been bringing in more and more plants from the southern hemisphere. And what's great about that is their warm season, when some of the plants kick in, is our cooler season. Leucadendrons come in a lot of different sizes, also known as coneflower. This one has a really striking golden yellow color, and this one is more in kind of a burgundy color, and even the stems of the plant have a burgundy. So you can combine them or use this as a small background shrub. This is more of a drama queen, important place in the garden. Once you get them started, start backing off on the water, go light on the fertilizer, and just keep them in this beautiful upright shape. First time I saw a grevillea flower, I was thinking maybe somebody who does the set design for sci-fi movies came up with this weird thing that could never really happen in nature. Well, it does. The grevilleas are beautiful flowers. There are a lot of varieties. One caution with a lot of these plants, especially grevillea, some are ground covers, some turn into full-size trees, some of them are kind of medium height. So always understand the predictable mature size of a plant before you pick a space for it. The other nice thing about grevillea, besides the flowers, are these sort of fern-like leaves and just a really nice upright vertical structure. Another welcome guest from the southern hemisphere. This is kangaroo paw. There are, like a lot of other plants, all sorts of hybrids and different species of them, different range of sizes. Some of these kangaroo paws can get head high when they're flowering and foliage up here. Others just get up around your knees. But Anagasanthus is a beautiful foliage plant throughout the year, so you'll have this nice vertical grassy look. And when they start flowering in the winter and into spring, you get these beautiful clusters of flowers. I just ran across one here I have never seen before, but that's what happens at Seaside Gardens. And this is called Anagasanthus Celebration Masquerade. And it's this eerie sort of cobalt blue color. And then the inside of the flowers are this really vibrant shade of green. So if you can figure out where this fits in your garden, because I don't know if I can, this would be a great plant to have. You can see it's a much more diminutive size. Anagasanthus kangaroo paw, usually yellows, oranges, reds, and then you get some of the bizarre ones who haven't read the rule book, I guess. So we're coming back above the equator now. We're in the northern hemisphere, strictly Mediterranean plants from the Mediterranean region. This is Phlomis, and again, many different forms. This yellow one is called Sunningdale Gold, but they're usually in shades of yellow, different size leaves. Common name is Jerusalem sage, although they don't have much of a sage fragrance to them. It's a great performer in the garden. Once they're going a year or two, I just about forget about them and just let them do their thing. Cut them back hard every once in a while, and they'll come back and retreat you. Another Mediterranean plant, real common stuff, is rosemary. Not only great for cooking, but there's ground cover types, there's taller ones that'll get about as big as me. There's one called Tuscan Blue that's one of my favorites because it tends to stay sort of gathered and more of an upright growth, so you don't have to worry about it sprawling out into the garden. The great thing here is the blue flowers. They're just fabulous, and if you make the right kind of pizza, oh, fabulous. The ubiquitous lavender Foliage fragrance, wonderful. Flowers, beautiful. Attracts pollinators like crazy. Same thing as all the woody Mediterraneans. Once they start performing and putting on growth, start cutting back on the water. And I'm kind of partial to leaving them a little on the dry side and cutting them back hard every once in a while. I want to knock you out with a bunch of beautiful California natives that are in flower. Here's one that qualifies on 2 levels. This is called Ceanothus Diamond Heights. It's a ground cover type, and it's got this really cool lemon, yellow, green sort of foliage color. They do need some protection, morning sun, some afternoon shade, but when the blue flowers come in on top of this, it's just spectacular. There are all different types of Ceanothus. Most of them need a lot of space, so don't try shoehorning them into little spaces. When you cut them back, they're not real happy. So have fun with Ceanothus, but make sure you've got enough space for them. Got a big space where you just need a ground cover that can go and go? This is one of the ones for you. This is a form of Arctotis. We've got these beautiful magenta colored flowers. There's yellows, there's oranges. What I love about them is that even when they're not flowering, they have this really crisp type of foliage, almost looks like salad greens with a gray underside and a kind of gray-green top. So they sparkle even when they're not flowering. When the flowers do come on, it is a riot of color. Give it a good hard cut back and it'll just kind of laugh at you and start growing back. So no worries about this. Bone dry, just fine. This is a plant called Hardenbergia violacea, and then there are cultivars of this with other names like Happy Wanderer and things like that. It's a vine. It does not self-attach to fences and things, so you'll have to have either some ties in the wall or an armature of wire, something like that. But this is the time of year when they really start going off. Not overly vigorous like trumpet vines and things, but you might want to keep an eye on it. But the flower color is just spectacular. Maybe we mix it, stand by, with something else in that range nearby, and we really amplify these kind of vibrant, cool colors. Who is that man lurking behind the grevillea? Got a couple of bees here too, so I'm going to be quick about this. If you get really excited from this segment and you go out and you buy some plants and it's still winter time, one caution: if we've had recent rains and the ground is still soft and watery, do not dig holes, do not put plants in the ground. The soil will recompact from all that moisture. You'll end up with a compromised root system. So wait till things dry out, and when you dig up a shovel, should be able to kind of separate the clods and have it not be too sticky. Other than that, I hope you got excited about some of the plants we talked about. There's a place for them in your garden. Just be sure you understand the predictable, mature size, and you don't start shoehorning potentially big plants into small spaces. Thanks very much. It's kind of funny, we filmed that segment at Seaside Gardens in the winter time, and our winter was so short that here we are in spring, as you can see, finishing up the episode. So make the most of your winter. Next up, a little more serious subject. Santa Barbara and Southern California is designed, so to speak, to burn. And as our recent fires down south showed us, people are becoming much more aware of fire safety and how landscaping connects with that. So we contacted Charlotte Zeamer with the Santa Barbara County Firesafe Council to start a 3-part series on how to make your garden and your landscaping more fire safe and protect your home. I am at the Santa Barbara Botanic Garden Library, hence the books, speaking with Charlotte Zeamer, who's the Education Program Manager for the Santa Barbara County Firesafe Council. Give us a just general overview of what it is that the Firesafe Council does, who's your audience, some of the programs and things that you run.
Sure, we are a local nonprofit. We are grant funded, and we do a number of things around wildfire safety, including community education, helping people remove vegetation from and near their homes and their properties to reduce that wildfire risk. And also we assist with community organizing around getting the changes that you need to have done to your homes and the structures around your homes, as well as your landscape, to make that a little bit more fire safe.
Fabulous. So when you say around your home, I would imagine neighbors helping neighbors. The more an area conforms with the fire safe ideas, the safer everybody's going to be. It's not just at your property line.
Absolutely. The more neighbors can work together to make sure that not just one home, but a number of homes in a community, especially if you're in a high fire hazard zone, which might be up in our foothills here in Santa Barbara and a number of other areas, the safer everyone's going to be. So that community organizing really is, in a lot of ways, at the heart of what we do.
How did you get into this? Was it like a Girl Scout merit badge thing on how to make fires and then keep it safe?
No, but that sounds like fun. No, I have been in science education for some years, and so just loving communicating with the public about things that matter, and then bringing that to something as important as fire safety here in our region of California was something that really appealed to me, and so that's what brought me to the Firesafe Council.
So did you have to bone up on it, or was something you were already familiar with?
Some of it I was familiar with, like there's principles that are common to sort of fire itself that can come from broad science education, but a lot of the things I am learning and a lot of the ways that our safety service providers, for example, our firefighters and the Office of Emergency Management and nonprofits in the area work together to keep our community safe is something that I am always learning more about.
Sounds like a fabulous program.
Oh, it's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying myself and still learning all the time.
And I'm one of your students. I got to take a weekend certification class here, so.
Yes, which was a very great pleasure.
So I think this is a tremendously important topic and that people need to know about it. As a landscape architect, I'm facing it all the time. Who is your audience? Who benefits from the programs that you put out?
We offer programming that could primarily serves homeowners and the general public. So we offer educational sessions, expos occasionally on evacuation management and wildfire safety. We offer classes for service providers that serve the general public. For example, landscape designers and architects like yourself, Billy. Landscape maintenance professionals. And we have coming out very shortly a set of sort of parallel courses for builders and architects to look at home building and retrofitting for fire safety in our region.
That's fabulous. So average homeowner gets in touch with you. What sort of services do we get?
I think the first thing that I would recommend is that a homeowner goes to our website and they look for the home assessments button, which is front and center on our website. What they would get from that is a direct line to our amazing home assessor who would come out free of charge to any home in the county and give recommendations as to retrofits and changes to both structure and the landscape around it that could improve the fire resilience of that property. We also offer assistance for individuals who might want to get together with their community, which we strongly recommend, to do similar retrofits across the community to improve the fire safety of that entire community, and that is called the FireWise program. And we have information on our website as to how to get in touch and get assistance with that organizing. That would also very likely have implications for insurance.
Let's talk a little about insurance because it seems a little bit slippery right now. I know there's state laws that govern some of this, and then there's also insurance companies who can not necessarily, it's up to them what they might ask you to do. How does that work for most people? Yeah,
so in our state and across the country right now, insurance companies are looking at ways to adjust and limit the amount of insurance and the costs of insurance, as I think every single homeowner knows at this point. So if you get in touch with your insurance broker, you will probably find ways to adjust both your landscaping again and do some retrofits for your home that could have implications for how much your insurance is costing you right now. And the coverage itself overall. So highly recommended to get in touch with your broker and see what you can do in regards to that. It will also make you and your community safer.
Fabulous. Why should people care about fire safety?
We live in California. We live in Southern California, and this region of the world has historically had an ecosystem that of which fire is a part. So it's not a problem of fire here in California. It's a problem, if you will, of people moving into regions where fire is endemic. The ecosystems around here are evolved to coexist with fire. So we would do well to figure out how to coexist with fire also. And I think these adjustments to our homes, these mindful changes to our landscapes really can go far to make it so that we can live here. We can live here without it being a disaster waiting to happen. And all of the things that we're talking about today and that we'll talk about in later segments are ways that homeowners can really do that themselves and be proactive about that.
I talk with clients who are concerned about this, but their fear is that they're going to come through with a bulldozer, clear cut everything, and it's going to look like the Sonoran Desert. I know that's not the case. Could you go on a little bit about what we're looking at, the zone approach, the spacing, that sort of thing?
Absolutely. So firescaping is looking at reducing the amount of flammable vegetation, fuel, that is near your home, near your structure. That's what's going to keep it a little bit more fire safe. So what that means is that closest to the home, you want to remove or reduce as much as you can flammable material, period, closest to the home. A little bit further out, we want people to keep things lean, clean, and green. And what that means is that it is well irrigated. You can have healthy plants, but probably not enormous bunches of plants that might get dry, and I'll touch on maintenance in a minute, in the drier seasons around here. And then further out from the house, let's say 100 feet or more, you want to reduce excess or unhealthy vegetation, for example, by limbing up trees or by removing brush and shrub that could, if it does ignite, light trees that are near your property.
That's the idea of a fuel ladder.
That's
where
exactly
a
right.
ground fire reaches shrubs, which reaches low-hanging limbs, which can set an entire tree on fire, and then you've got all the embers.
Exactly right.
So this isn't the end of this for you and I. In future episodes, we're going to be doing some walkabout here and doing a little bit of site assessment to show people how that's done, and also leading them to other resources that they can get from the Firesafe Council or the website. So for now, thank you for your time, and thank you for all the work that the Firesafe Council is doing for Santa Barbara County.
It's a pleasure.
Thanks.
So now I'm going to show you some examples of what we just talked about in terms of firescaping. Here at the Santa Barbara Botanic Garden, there are several excellent examples of plantings that are more and less recommended in terms of keeping your structure fire safe. So firescaping is about thinking about what you have around your home and where it is, both in relation to the home and relation to other plants. So with this structure, you can see close up to the home, where I want to focus your attention, we have some foundation plantings, we have some well irrigated plants right there by the wall, we have some very low ground cover over here. Do you have to pull all of these things out? You do not necessarily need to pull everything out right next to the home at present. However, you may have heard that there are regulations coming down that will require Zone 0, so the 5 feet closest to your home or any structure on your property, to have completely non-combustible material there. So best practices are going to say, yes, let's do that. But if you look here at this well-irrigated section right close to the home, that the 0 to 5 section, you'll see that these are not super flammable, unlikely to burn, and that this is not of super high concern. However, if you look behind me on the other side, you're going to see a planting. This is a vine growing up a chimney. This is very close to a house that is made of wood, to a house where the eaves are also wood and they are not enclosed. If this were to get hot enough, it would ignite, and it's so close to that house that that is a liability. That's something that we want to watch, things actually growing right on the home. You see right next to that is a foundation planting of ferns. Those are well irrigated, lush, but they're kind of tall. And if a fire were to come, they would likely dry out, and they're quite close to that window. So those igniting would be a bad situation, both for the structure and honestly for the windows that are right there. The last thing you want is fire having a chance to actually enter your home. And then you see on the other side here, very low, well irrigated ground cover right by the structure. These are not of super high concern. But again, if you want to be incredibly conscientious and you want to follow the regulations coming down, you will want to have completely non-combustible material within 0 to 5 feet of the home. That means decomposed granite rather than something that is organic. That means you could have your metal patio furniture, but not wooden patio furniture. You want to pull potted plants away from the home in the event of a red flag warning, this kind of thing. And again, foundation plantings are not your best choice for that. So the foundation plantings are these ornamental, typically larger plantings that are right up near the wall of a structure. In a high fire hazard area, which is Santa Barbara County, especially Santa Barbara and our foothills, foundation plantings are not recommended. Just as important to a fire-smart landscape is maintenance. So maintenance is everything that you need to do to keep your landscape free of dry material, free of dead material, or free of plants that are sick or dying. The reason for this is that those plants are going to turn into dry tinder in the event of very dry conditions, red flag conditions, or God forbid, a fire coming through. This plant is an excellent example of a plant that is well maintained. There isn't a ton of duff or dry twigs within the plant. If I even kind of peek in here, I can see that it looks pretty good. On my other side here is a plant that is going to need some work. I see tons of dead material on there, and I see a plant that is suffering from illness or a pest, a plant that may die and turn into dry tinder. So maintenance is key with all the plants in your garden. Keeping them well irrigated and healthy is essential and just as important as watching where you put different kinds of plants in relation to your homes and structures. So here is an excellent example of some things that are more and less recommended for planting near a structure. What we see here next to me is an excellent metal sculpture. This is not combustible. The pavers that I'm standing on, if they were to wrap all the way around this house, that is an excellent choice for non-combustible material near a structure. What we see here is a low, very nice plant that on the outside is green and appears to be well irrigated, but if you were to take a peek inside, you would see that these plants, once they get a little bit bigger, that interior is twiggy and far more likely to dry out quickly and become tinder in the event of a wildfire. These kinds of plantings, especially close to a structure, are not recommended. This plant is very beautiful. It is also healthy and well irrigated, but it is too close to the structure for safety. This kind of thing is a great choice for a little bit farther out, especially if, as we were talking about earlier, it's planted a little ways away, both vertically and horizontally, from other plantings. You don't want that fire to have a chance to climb from one planting to another on the way to your home. So something that's useful to know about fire behavior or fire in relation to living plants is that even though this plant is now healthy, it is well irrigated, there is moisture in the leaves, there is moisture in the trunk. Likewise, this bush here, when fire approaches a plant, it will create heat, obviously, and that plant will dry out. The plant will not stay moist and well irrigated as the fire is approaching. The fire is going to dry these plants out, turn them into timber before they catch, and then make them easy to catch. So keep that in mind as you choose plantings and where you're going to put them around your home. So here we see another couple of great examples of what to do and what maybe not to do near your home or your structures. So under my feet, we have a lovely, well irrigated, low, green, healthy ground cover. It is just about 5 feet from this structure, and close to the structure we have really nice, I believe this is decomposed granite or like a stone mulch here. In the middle of it, again, a little bit far from the structure, is an excellent, very low likelihood of combustion succulent. Next to some rocks, again, we're looking at non-combustible things that are lovely, that look good, that complement the structure, and that complement each other. This choice may not be the best choice for reasons we talked about earlier. It is a larger plant. It is much closer to the structure. And this plant, while it is green kind of on the outside, you'll see if you peek in with many plants like this, it's quite twiggy and there isn't green material inside. This, as I mentioned earlier as well, would dry out if a fire were to approach and become tinder and light. And you do not want that kind of fire right next to a structure or right next to windows, which I see here. So you've heard a lot about firescaping. We're going to cover more topics like this in later episodes of Garden Wise, but just keep in mind, Firescaping can absolutely be done in baby steps, one thing at a time. Think about your plants that you have. Think about what maintenance steps you can take right now that aren't hard or costly. And think about one plant at a time, maybe moving or pulling out plants that you now know may not be in the right place or the right choice for where they are in your garden.
I want to thank Charlotte for that great segment on firescaping, and stay tuned for future episodes and visit their website. Now for the high point of things. We're going to give you an irrigation tip. Somehow our producer managed to wrangle one of the A-list, hard-to-find spokespeople for irrigation. You'll learn from Runty not only how to conserve water by taking dirt baths, but she's also going to help me explain one of the important ways that we water our shrubs and trees in the garden. Stay tuned. Here's Runty. I'm here with Runty the Chicken for another irrigation tip. We're going to try to answer the proverbial question, should I be watering yet? Runty, you ready? Let's teach the folks what we know. Runty's technique for checking for water is to scratch and peck with her beak, and I don't suggest you try doing that at home. But one of the first things to understand before you decide when it's time to water is understanding plant anatomy. If you've got a lawn, the root system's going to go fairly shallow and you can check the moisture level easily. But when you have bigger shrubs and trees like that, you need to see that the root system is going down much deeper and much wider. So just looking at the soil and saying, gee, the soil looks dry, really doesn't get you anywhere. We need some techniques for checking how much moisture there is down where the roots are actually working. There's a number of ways to check for soil moisture deeper down in the surface. One of the simple ways is to have a moisture meter. These kind of vary in terms of their usability based on the price, but even these inexpensive ones, as soon as I put this in the soil, it's making a kind of an electrical connection, and the meter will give you a general idea whether it's moist or totally dry. So for some cases that's good enough, and you can see it can go fairly deep into the soil, so you can check the moisture level. So Runty, this is a moisture meter, and we use these to read like a little signal that we get out of the soil. Watch this. As soon as I put it down in the soil, you see the needle? Yes, it's scary, okay, but the needle moves. We're just after a rain here today while we're shooting, so you can see moisture level is really high, and I have a good idea, not an exact number, of how deep there's still some moisture. That's where the root systems are for a lot of these plants. A simpler way is just to dig down a little bit. Runty, are you watching? You dig up a little bit of soil without hurting the root system. Boring, huh? And we can see, again, the soil is very, very moist. If we're in the middle of summer, might have a little trouble pushing this down, but what you'll find is this may look dry, but as we put the soil probe deeper in the soil, when I pull it out, now I'm down really deep, and I get this nice core of soil, again, telling me how moist the soil is. A lot of people don't know this, but chickens can be taught to do the hokey pokey, and it's a really good technique for checking on whether your lawn is getting close to needing water. And all you have to do is, watch this, we step down on the grass and we take our foot away, and if there's enough moisture, the grass just comes back up. If the plants are starting to get a little bit drought stressed, there's less moisture, so that when we step down, we'll see our footprint left behind. Doesn't mean you need to water right away, but it means you're getting close. So Runty's favorite tip is to learn how to read your plants. We can dig in the soil and see if it's actually moist, or we can look at a plant. As soon as it starts getting on the dry side, these broadleaf plants are going to start looking a little bit dull, and the leaves are going to start to droop a little bit. Doesn't mean you have to water right away, but it's an indication that the plant is moving toward the dry side. So just keep that in mind. Read your garden. Got that, Runty? So, Runty, do you know another way to check on whether the plant is starting to get stressed and in need of water? Yes, that's right. You watch the leaves, and by afternoon or so on a warm day between waterings, you may see the leaves start losing a little bit of their shine or start wilting a little bit. It doesn't mean they're going to die in a minute and you have to start watering. It's just an indication that during warm weather, the plant's getting a little stressed. Means in the next few days, you probably want to give them a good soak. So, Runty, you ready to wrap this one up? Good, let's go. So the big idea that we're both trying to give you here is that just looking at the soil and saying, oh, it looks dry, should not be your only indicator on whether it's time to water. You can use some of the tools we talked about to actually check the soil moisture in the root zone, step on the lawn, do the hokey pokey, do it. Or just check and see if the leaves are starting to wilt. That'll give you a much better idea. You'll be able to save water, water less frequently, and still have a beautiful, vibrant garden. You may have noticed Runty's hairdo, feather coif, whatever we want to call it, was a little bit messed up. Now she understands the stress of being a TV personality. But enough of that. Winter is a great time for growing produce in our garden. You want to put those yummies on the table. So we're going up to the Mesa Harmony Gardens to learn more about what we can grow to put stuff on the table all winter long.
Mesa Harmony Gardens is the name of this food forest that we started in 2010, and we produce on average about 1,200 pounds of fruit that we give to the food bank. So a food forest is a place where you use natural or permaculture techniques to grow the fruit. It's a little bit different than what you can easily do in your backyard, or quite different actually than what they do in modern day agriculture. We're actually exploiting to the maximum all the natural features. For example, pests might want to bother our plants and production of food, but we also encourage beneficial insects which will control the population of the pests. And we invite beneficials by having an array of natural plants, flowers with nectar that makes the beneficial insects want to stay here. And we do things like put lots of mulch on the ground several times a year, piles and piles of it, to enrich the soil. And we've got all kinds of biology in the soil that's really active and healthy, and that's very supportive to the food production. We grow lots of stone fruit, which includes peaches, nectarines, nectar plum. In addition to stone fruit, apples, pears, bananas, the chayotes, which are veggies that grow on vines on the fence. And with the exception of things that fall on the ground and get damaged, which, we eat ourselves, we bring it all to the food bank. Yeah, I think the appeal to a visitor that would want to come and learn about horticulture, help us out, would be that if they have, say, fruit trees in their backyard and they want them to be regularly offering delicious fruit every year, rather than having the frustration that's associated with someone who doesn't have a green thumb. And we show them that it's really best to prune them twice a year to keep them a reasonable size, and you want to have a manageable amount of fruit, and you want it to be quality. So we teach people to thin out their fruits, they have more quality, to prune their trees, so the energy is focused on making better fruit. If people are interested in being involved, the first thing would probably be to join the mailing list for the Mesa Harmony Garden, and there we are always informing people of upcoming events. We're going to be focusing on this topic or that topic, but we do that monthly. We do various topics. We did soils. We'll be doing irrigation later. So if you want to learn about enriching your backyard, please come to learn. Also, just lots of techniques for taking care of all these plants, and you can come help us take care of the garden and be part of the food production. Bees find this the place to be when they see a field like that. And we like that. We like to roll out the welcome mat for bees, mostly because they pollinate our trees. There are native bees, which are few here, and there are lots of honeybees, which aren't native bees, but they're the more common. And other pollinators too that aren't bees, hoverflies, for example, really enjoy the environment here. They want to move in. They don't want to just pass through, so that's what we're after. Top tip for the average home gardener is to keep learning. Come to events that we have here, teach you how to do it, and also just to go out there and check in on them and see what they're doing. It's fulfilling. So I find that we can sort of show you what we mean by that if you come, and I think when you get into that, pay attention and tune into that, it's rewarding. So try it if you haven't really had a chance.
If you're still watching, unbelievable, that means you're a super fan. And if you watch 2 more episodes, we'll teach you the secret handshake. It's really cool. Impress all your friends. Now we're going to go to the Garden Wise mailbag. We get a lot of questions from people regarding problems in their own garden. So let's hear how I answer these probing questions. So I reached into the mailbag, got this letter from Linda, very nice. She wrote Billy and put a little heart on it. I feel so special. And she's asking, she's got some small deciduous trees and wants to know when's a good time to prune them. It's right now in the winter time, because once they lose all their leaves, you can really see the skeletal structure of the plant. So if she wanted this plant to be a little bit lower and broader so she could see the whole thing, it's a fairly simple approach. You take the branches that are going where you don't want them, and you leave behind the ones that are going in the direction that you do want. So for example, got my trusty loppers here, set my envelope down there on the ground. So by taking out this tall branch right here, that's gonna allow these smaller twigs to keep growing out in a horizontal direction. So we're eliminating the ones we know we don't want, timber, and leaving behind the ones that we do. Pretty straightforward. If you have any questions about your garden, don't hesitate to email us. And I hope you've learned something to use in your own garden, how to make it more beautiful, how to make it more edible, how to make it more fire safe. You can see all of our past episodes on YouTube, and I'm Billy Goodnick. Thanks for watching.